Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. So let's get right to it. Give you guys a forearm shot first. All right, ice baths. You know, I've gotten in some conversations and I see people defending ice baths. Still, here's a problem with it. People are like, well, they work for me or whatever, and certain experts advocate them. But here's the problem. I'm going to jump a second into the most recent meta-analysis, which everyone has seen already. I shouldn't need to link it because if you care about ice baths, you probably read it and got upset if you're into them. But here's the thing that we have to think about. This is the reason when people started doing ice baths years ago, a few years back, I jumped up and said, this is nonsense. This will probably hurt your gains. I didn't need to see any data to know that. Why? Because I know basic human biology. Okay? You don't even have to be at an advanced level. Basic human biology, basic medical stuff. That's all you need to know to realize this is a bad idea. All right, now when people will jump up and say, but didn't they used to have the RICE protocol? Rest, ice, compression, elevation. Written by sports physician Dr. Gabe Merkin. Here's the issue with that. Doesn't work, and he recanted it. In 2015, Dr. Merkin came out publicly, and he wrote the book on this. He wrote this whole protocol that everyone followed for years. He wrote a book saying, look, I know I put out this protocol decades ago and put it in a book, but it doesn't work. It's not true. It's been debunked. The evidence, just the evidence doesn't support it as being useful for healing injuries, recovery, anything else. Particularly it's the ice part, right? The ice is the problem. Now, the idea back then was to lower inflammation and to reduce swelling and all this stuff, particularly swelling. And ice can be used to reduce swelling, but it does not speed up healing. In fact, ice slows healing. So anytime you make a limb extremely cold, so then someone says, so I shouldn't take a cold shower. No one said that. We're talking about really cold temperatures, not a cold shower. But yeah, cold plunges, ice baths, even putting ice on something, cold therapy, that will slow down the healing process. That is not a controversial statement. That is what medical experts have known for over a decade. Everybody knew this in the medical world up to the point to where even the guy who wrote the RICE protocol 9 years ago recanted it and said, yeah, it doesn't work. So we need to be clear, the only benefits that ice has is to reduce swelling from an injury. If your swelling is really bad, like your face is busted, you've been hit or whatever hurt, and you put ice on there to get that swelling down. Okay, that's it. Not going to reduce other inflammation beneficially. So people telling you this stuff, what decade are they living in? Well, it's long. No, it's debunked medical practice that, again, we need to be clear. The medical doctor who wrote the whole protocol, the RICE protocol, publicly recanted it under his professional name and said, yeah, it doesn't work, sorry. You know, technology's advanced, we can measure this stuff, it's not good. All right, we need to be clear, cold slows down healing. So before we even got into any of the meta-analysis that looked at things, common sense at that point, a reasonable person 9 years ago who knew that this had been recanted, again, if you care about training, you probably keep up a little bit with sports medicine, right? I know I do. So at that point, we're all going, well, wait, it slows down healing, therefore it will probably slow down recovery from exercise. Will probably negatively impact your adaptations to exercise. Common sense. We don't even need studies to look at that at this point. You just look at what the medical experts know for injuries and tissue trauma. Well, if it slows down healing, it's a really good chance, and it doesn't help healing at all, there's a good chance it could interfere with the stress recovery adaptation cycle from lifting weights or other intense exercise. Okay, common sense. There's no reason to actually do it. This is not even benefit. Again, the only people talking about it are some people who get caught up in every fad. Well, those things with neurotransmitters. But the people saying that jump on every kooky fad. So someone, said, well, this one professor, but that professor, when I've looked into him, is involved with every single goofball scam that comes out. Every goofball scam, his name gets brought up in my comments. But Huberman or something. And he's involved with everything that's a bullshittery. So he seems to just jump on every bandwagon from what I can tell if I go off what people are saying. Well, he endorses this or that. And it's always something that we know doesn't work. Just saying. Not particularly impressed. And I don't know much else about the guy other than his name gets brought up with all these goofball scams. Well, then we look at meta-analysis. People are lifting weights or doing intense exercise. So we need to be clear. If it blunts the hypertrophy adaptation, it will blunt probably the adaptation to any intense exercise. In other words, you're not getting the full benefits of your exercise if you do cold plunges. You are reducing your gains to your HIIT cardio, to your sprinting, and absolutely to your weightlifting. And we have a meta-analysis on that saying it reduces hypertrophy to training. Now people say, but that's only, after workout. Well, only during the growth window. When are you people not, are you people only working out once a week? When people use, you're talking about that main 12 to 24 hour window post-workout, that really critical one, that one to where your nutrition and sleep is really important. Well, how many days a week are you guys lifting? 3, 4, 5? Okay, I'm going to say most serious lifters train between 3 and 5 days a week. Well, when the hell are you doing these ice baths? So if you take me, who's currently training 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, when it's been 24 hours since I've trained? Sunday? So you're telling me Sundays, in your opinion, it would be beneficial for me to do an ice bath? I guess do it on the Lord's Day. I mean, damn, people. What are you guys just going to not work out so that you can get more ice baths? And it's going to bump the training. I guess I just need to train. Oh. So I don't get it. It's ridiculous. And yet people are still promoting it when there's no real evidence to anything particularly beneficial other than a professor somewhere claiming, well, it does a lot for your neurotransmitters. I'm sure there's other things you can do for your neurotransmitters that don't interfere with healing, muscle growth, recovery from minor injuries, because that's what the ice does. It interferes. And it's uncomfortable on top of it. So, I guess that's the only benefit, because, Bruce Lee used to take some cold showers to stay on edge. All right, if you're going to be Bruce Lee, I guess you can go take your cold showers or whatever so you can stay focused. But for those of us who are actual athletes, and we're not pursuing some whatever mystic discipline or chi or whatever it is some guru has convinced you to pursue, those of us who are just trying to get really strong and really jacked, and just get cock diesel as hell, maybe we should skip on this nonsense. You know what? Because there's already enough discipline involved in what we do. We have to train all the time. We have to sleep correctly. We have to eat a good diet. You know what? I think that's good enough. That's good enough for our goals. Be disciplined with that stuff. You don't need to pursue whatever Quagong energy and take ice baths and meditate. Or whatever it is the hell you people are doing. I don't know. And let's skip on the ice baths. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.